alloy wheels. These things can be a real love-hate relationship if you've been around them at all. I don't think I've had a set of chrome alloys on any car in the last 20 years that haven't eventually leaked air. Now, they look cool, as you can see here on this 300 SEL 4.5 that I want to put a full set of chromed alloys, but I've got two that are leaking very badly. One, not so badly. One leak takes a couple days, the other leaks down overnight, and it's really frustrating. You come out, you know, and the tire's flat. You say, okay, I'm done with alloys. But you have to admit, they look good. So we're going to try to fix these. We're going to try to fix them so they will last. This is an attempt to come up with a permanent fix, and let me show you why they leak. If you're familiar with the problem of dissimilar metal corrosion, this is what happens. When you chrome over aluminum, you set up a perfect environment for dissimilar metal corrosion when moisture is trapped next to it. And that's what happens. The tire's put on, the bead traps the moisture, and look at that. Look at the corrosion. And when the corrosion starts under the chrome, it starts flaking the chrome up and it'll lose the bead seal, and of course it's going to leak air right out through here. So you can see quite a bit of corrosion there. If I flip it over, you'll have spots that don't look too bad, but look at this one. This one's real bad. And then if I show you another wheel, this wheel's been worked on. Tire shop went in there and cleaned this all up, sanded it. They even sanded the factory grooves off, and yet, here you go. You got a little corrosion there, a little corrosion there, and some corrosion. Looks like they tried to use some sort of sealer there, and you flip it over here and see this. That doesn't look too bad, but you have these little spots of corrosion that are starting to creep up again. And so this is the one that's leaking very slowly, and this one here is the one that's leaking quite rapidly overnight, and you can see why. Look at the heavy corrosion. So this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to do a repair using Miracle Paint to see if I can get these wheels to hold air. But I've cleaned these up. I want to show this to you right now. You can see I've got in here and cleaned all the corrosion off. My intent here is to come up with a kit that will allow you to take your chrome wheels and fix them so they won't leak. A lot of times you'll come in and clean up these tire bead areas and you'll get the corrosion off, and then it starts corroding again because of this problem of dissimilar metal corrosion. And you saw that earlier, but I got in here and really cleaned these up. I mean, they're looking really good. Make sure, number one, the corrosion can be stopped, that it won't come back, and then provide extra sealing to the bead of the tire when it seats down on the rim when you put pressure to the tire. After spending 20 to 30 minutes with these here in the shop, I've gotten them in pretty good shape. There's some areas where they're beautiful, but then you get over into here, and this is where all that roughness was. Now that I have most of this corrosion removed, I even came back and did some more work with some fine sandpaper. I went ahead and cleaned it. You can clean these bead areas with either lacquer thinner or brake cleaner, but use a lint-free towel. Look at this. Can you believe this? As I went and cleaned every one of these lips on these two wheels, I ended up with a rag that was this dirty. So you might have thought your wheel was clean, but not so. You have to have this thoroughly clean of any wax, grease, or any other foreign material, or the Miracle Paint is not going to stick. So I've got it ready here. I've warmed the wheel up so it is at room temperature. Now I'm going to take and begin to coat these areas with a light coat of Miracle Paint. I'm going to go right from there to right about there. You don't want to go out past the edge because the Miracle Paint spots will show when you put the tire back on. So this is where I'm going to apply the Miracle Paint. I won't need to show you this whole operation in this video, but I'm just going to show you a section. And don't put it on too thick. We are actually going to come back and do a second coat on those heavily pitted areas, but for now we're going to do both wheels, both bead areas on both wheels. You'll have to use light strokes as you apply the Miracle Paint in this fashion. You can tell this isn't something that you're going to whip out in just a few minutes. It takes a little patience to work this Miracle Paint around in all these bead areas on the wheels. and not get it too far over the edge. It takes a little brush work. I've let this first coat of Miracle Paint dry for about 3 days. The longer you let it sit, the harder it's going to get. And if you look right here, there's some areas where I'm not going to have to do anything more to. They're absolutely smooth and very nice, but then you get over here and you start seeing the pits, the heavy pits. I want to show you before I continue just how tough this Miracle Paint is. Watch as I try to scratch it. This particular wheel had a lot of corrosion on both sides. It was pretty deep in spots, but it wasn't as bad as that previous wheel you looked at. So this got 2 coats, and you can see that I've sanded through, and I've got it real smooth. And of course, if you break through to a little metal, if it's smooth there, that's fine, because there was no corrosion right in there. A lot of the corrosion, you know, hangs out right in that valley right there. So you can see this one's all smooth and ready to go. And if I flip it over, here you can see there were places on this wheel it wasn't bad at all. And you just don't even need to coat that. It just to kind of sanded that off. You can see this is very smooth. Once again, I think there were probably a couple spots I just had to dab on the 3rd coat to get it to smooth out. But that's what it should look like when you're ready to mount the tire. Now, it's been about 5 days and there's no leak down. Look at how nice those chrome wheels look on this 380 SL. So they say the proof is in the pudding. So I'm going to report back in 6 months and let you know if these wheels are still leak free.